Morgana the Witch of Eyes has arrived in Master Duel, bringing along her arsenal of powerful Morganite spell cards. And that can only mean one thing: the rise of stun strategies more oppressive than ever. While YouTubers are rejoicing at the recent Master Duel ban list, I am concerned about the rise of stun strategies. Stun strategies are already resilient and hard to counter, with the arrival of new Dominist hand traps to further cover Morganite Spells' drawback. I felt stun strategies are a serious threat in Master Duel Best of 1 format, more so for trap-heavy strategies like LABRYNTH. Without special summons, lovely Lady LABRYNTH of the Silver Castle is not going to get much showtime. So what counter-strategy does LABRYNTH even have against the new wave of stun decks? Sure, Infinite Impermanence can turn off Floodgate monsters, but only one monster per imperm for a turn. For something more permanent, there's always skill drain, though finding it consistently is another story. So what else can LABRYNTH rely on to handle these new wave of stun strategies? How about an undead lord in gold-plated armor? Though not exactly a knight in shining armor, it does have some fancy heals. In a game where their union is discouraged by many, not because they couldn't, but because they shouldn't. One is zombie-locked, the other is fiend-locked. Who in their right metamind thought this pairing could work? Certainly not them.
I don't chase my target, I trap them. It's in my archetype. I told Konami, I'm not into mixed types.
One turn stands like the normals. Please, I prefer continuous that stay and commit. Commitment. My commitment is with the graveyard and gold.
2 trap archetypes, 2 different locks, 2 opposing attributes. No one ever thought they were meant to be together until Konami printed their certificate of union. I mean, Delta of Invitation. This field card effect reads: when this card is activated, you can send 1 level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects of Delta of Invitation once per turn. If a zombie monster is on the field, you can special summon 1 Delta token. If 1 or more monster is added from the graveyard to the hand while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand except during the damage step. You can only activate 1 Delta of Invitation per turn. As you can see, this card carries that classic zombie vibe with its own built-in recursion. Whenever a monster returns from the graveyard to the hand, Delta rises right back with it, keeping the zombie engine truly undead. Now one might start to wonder, how on earth does Delta of Invitation bring about the union between these 2 trap archetypes? First, by freeing ELDLICH from reliance on ELDLICH cards, the zombie-type lock concern can now be properly buried. And because Delta allows Eldritch to be summoned directly from the graveyard, it neatly slips past Welcome Labyrinth's Fiend-type lock altogether. Second, Delta's graveyard recovery effect activates whenever any monster returns from the graveyard to the hand. And guess what? Labyrinth's own furniture monsters like Chandragleer and Kuklok do exactly that. Each time they bounce back to hand from the graveyard, Delta gets pulled up from the graveyard as well, ready to supply the graveyard with another high-level zombie and to fuel Eldritch effects. So not only does Delta of Invitation synergize perfectly with Eldritch, it harmonizes with Labyrinth as well. This duel will show what I meant. This brings us to the next question. What other zombies vibe with Delta of Invitation besides Eldritch? Well, we have Wandering Titan of Tartarus. Its devastating board-breaking effect activates once Delta of Invitation resolves and sends it from the main deck to the graveyard. Under the right setup, this can spell certain doom for our opponent. A point of note, Wandering Titan of Tartarus's special summon and board removal effects are bundled together, so once the Titan wanders onto the field, its removal effect cannot be responded to. A word of caution. Wandering Titan of Tartarus is a double-edged sword. It cleans our board first before the opponent's, so don't just let it wander freely. Then there's the OG graveyard boss, Doom King Baylor Druck. So long there's a field spell face-up, Doom King special summons itself from the graveyard every turn. What could possibly be more undead than that? And where there's Doom King, there's Zombie World, worthy of serious consideration. Not only does it cripple strategies like Fiend Smith and Mitsurugi, it also facilitates super polymerization to fusion summon the Duke of Demise, which can return graveyard monsters back to hand to trigger Delta's recovery effect. Should Zombie World lurks in our deck, consider Necro World Banshee or Al Ghul Mazera. Banshee brings it to the field straight from the deck, while Al Ghul shields our zombified legions from destruction. Both pair nicely with the Doom King, though keep in mind that Al Ghul's effect doesn't actually trigger Doom King's effect. However, Doom King's banished effect can summon Al Ghul from the graveyard. As observed, Delta of Invitation is capable of serving Eldritch in more ways than one. It's practically rallying an undead force with terrifying synergy. Before Labyrinth even realizes it, zombies are rising from the graveyard, ready to provide support when least expected. Delta of Invitation isn't stopping at inviting zombies to the party. While Delta gives easy access to Eldlich, which includes rank 10 XC monsters the likes of Varudras, Delta can generate Delta tokens for link summons, and 2 tokens are all we need to synchro summon Chaos Angel. Delta of Invitation is also rather easily searchable from the deck thanks to cards like Metaverse and Lord of the Heavenly Prison. One important point to note: Delta of Invitation uses the when keyword. That means it needs to be activated directly from the hand, or when it is set on the field. So, if anyone planning to use Metaverse to activate Delta during opponent's turn and let Tartarus wipe the field, think again. Best forget the Metaverse Tartarus nuke idea. It'll miss timing faster than a laggy Master Duel connection, resulting in a failed invitation. For those seeking more reasons to splash Delta to unite both Labyrinth and ELDLICH, Dragon's Mind comes to mind. Besides Aria's the Labyrinth Butler, Dragon's Mind can be activated with ELDLICH too. This counter trap can set itself from the graveyard, so it's as good as searchable through milling. Not to mention, ELDLICH is naturally good with spell and trap cards that recover themselves. Cards like Delta of Invitation, Tight-Nose Cider, and Welcome Labyrinth all share this trait. Moreover, ELDLICH's indestructibility can come in handy when facing destructive decks like Raziel or Mitsurugi, especially after Raziel Detonator wipes out all the cards set for Dear Lady Labyrinth. Now, for the biggest elephant in the room. Since ELDLICH is light and Tartarus is earth, can Labyrinth still play Dominus Impulse? The answer is yes, just not from the hand. Otherwise, ELDLICH and Tartarus will rest peacefully in the graveyard for good. For those wondering whether this unlikely union can stand against today's modern strategies, perhaps this duel holds some answers. Altar of Invitation is like an official Tinder for these two trap archetypes. Who knew Fiend and Zombie could swipe right and swinging together like a pendulum scale after balancing their differences? Even they didn't see it coming.
I told myself, stick to zombies. Then she appeared with the furnitures.
I thought he was out of my type. Turns out, he was out of my ban list.
And thus, the last question remains, will you dare to accept the invitation? All right. I know it, and I get it. There will always be duelists who prefer the hardcore mode, running both different type locking cards in the same deck. All I can offer for now are some duels for some consideration. That's all for now. See you in the next video.